Oh, hi. Welcome back to Tommy's Turf Talks. Excuse me. Today, we're going to be discussing lawn diseases. Just like you, me, and everyone else, the lawn too can catch a disease. So today, we're going to be talking about some of the most common diseases that you may find on your home lawns. All right, let's get to it. Today's episode is brought to you by Itchy Ike's Decrabbing Powder. Remember, if you're looking for that deep, soothing relief from the itching and burning, always choose Itchy Ike's Decrabbing Powder. All right, I'm feeling a lot better now. I took a small dose of fungicides and my system's all cleaned out. Feeling tip-top. So let's talk about diseases. Now, most of the lawn diseases that you see in your home lawns are going to be caused by funguses. A few viruses out there, but for the most part, it's going to be a fungus. Today, we're going to go over red thread, rust, and dollar spot. Those are three very common diseases that you see in the spring, summer, and fall on your home lawns. In the next episode, we're going to be discussing a few other common diseases that you might see. All right, so first, red thread. I don't have any red thread on my property because, I know what I'm doing. But I'm going to throw some pictures up so you know what it looks like and go over a brief description of what red thread is. And then we'll discuss how to treat it.
Red thread usually starts out as small discolored patches in your lawn. These patches will slowly grow and spread. A telltale sign of red thread, and from where it gets its name, is the pink mycelium that will grow out of the tips of the grass blades. This will be most noticeable in the morning when the turf is damp. Red thread is most common in moderate temperatures around 65 to 75 degrees during wet and humid periods, although it can also show up during warmer temperatures higher than 75 degrees. Your lawnmower will spread the spores of this disease around, so it's a good idea to bag your clippings and wash your mower down after you've cut grass through an infected area.
All right, now on to rust. Again, no rust in my lawn, but throw up some pictures so you can see what it looks like. And again, talk about the characteristics and what you can do to solve the problem.
Rust, like red thread, is going to start out as small patches throughout your lawn and slowly spread. A very easy way to identify if you have rust is to walk through your lawn with dark colored shoes on or to mow your lawn through the discolored patches. Your shoes and your mower will pick up the orange colored spores and will appear as though they are covered in orange dust. Your lawnmower can spread these spores, so it is also a good idea, like red thread, to bag your clippings and clean your mower off after you've cut the infected areas.
All right, and finally on today's episode, dollar spot. Again, no dollar spot out here to show you, but as always, I'll throw up some pictures, discuss some of the characteristics, and we'll talk about how to fix the problem.
All right, just like red thread and rust, dollar spot will first appear as small discolored patches and slowly grow and spread. A telltale sign of dollar spot is the lesion that appears on the grass blades. It will be a straw-colored lesion with dark edges and will look as though someone cinched a belt tight around the grass blade. You also may notice white mycelium growth in the infected areas of the turf in the morning when the turf is damp. All three of these diseases, red thread, rust, and dollar spot, will thrive in undernourished, slow-growing turf. All right, so now for the most important part. How do we solve these lawn diseases?
Most of these lawn diseases, cultural practices are the best way to avoid and to treat any kind of fungal disease. One of the best ways you can do it is make sure your lawn is always cut the right height. Don't want to be too low, don't want to be too high. You know, I usually say anywhere from about 2.5 to 3.5 inches. People will have very strong feelings on this if they like their lawns high. A lot of people like to cut them very short, which you can do. You just got to make sure that you're feeding it and watering enough to sustain its growth and not have issues down the line. But mowing height, very important. Making sure that you're watering correctly. You're going to want to make sure that you water in the mornings. Try to avoid watering late at night or in the evenings or even in the late afternoons, because you want to give your turf enough time to dry out. If it stays wet for long periods of time, then you're going to start to run into issues with many different kinds of fungal diseases. All right, another very important and often overlooked practice that you can all easily do to avoid getting diseases is making sure that your mower blades are nice and sharp. All right, a lot of people probably go years without sharpening their blades, but I would say any kind of mower blade, good for about 20 to 25 cuts. So for most people, that's going to get you through a season. So at the very least, try to sharpen your blades at least once a year, either before or after a growing season. If you really want to be on top of it, you can mow your blades as often as you like. For home lawns, being mowed once a week, twice a week, it's not really necessary to do it weekly, but you could certainly do it monthly if you want. Having nice sharp blades will cut the grass instead of tearing it. Once the grass starts to tear, you're going to leave an opening for all kinds of diseases to get into the grass plant with. All right? Now, the most important thing you can do to try to avoid these diseases is making sure that your lawn is being consistently fed with a good source of nitrogen. Now, you can use all kinds of nitrogen sources. The clippings you drop are going to give your lawn about 1 pound of nitrogen per year, depending on how often you're mowing. You can throw down season-long fertilizers that have different coatings of poly on them that are going to release nitrogen continuously throughout the year. You can just fertilize 3, 4, 5 times throughout the year. Doesn't really matter how often. It all depends on how much nitrogen you're putting down. You can do small little feedings more often throughout the year, or larger feedings with a slow release fertilizer less often throughout the year. Really, the main goal is just to make sure that your lawn is consistently getting fed. The minute it starts to run out of nitrogen, it starts to slow down its growth, like we talked about in all 3 of those disease types. That's when you're going to start to see these diseases pop up. One of the easiest and best options on home lawns to control, stop, or try to get the lawn to recover quicker is to put down a fertilizer. It doesn't matter if you had just fertilized or not. A lot of times I'll put down a half rate of a fertilizer just to get things moving. So if you had, say, a 2506 fertilizer, meaning that, you know, that front number is your nitrogen. So 25% of every pound is nitrogen. So you put down 2 pounds of that fertilizer down across your lawn per 1,000 square feet. That's going to help to alleviate that disease and help your grass recover quicker, because it's going to get the grass growing again. So fertilizer, very important, good practice to avoid and to help cure any kind of lawn diseases that you might get on your lawn. At least the 3 that we're talking about today. Not all of them are going to want fertilizer to be put down. We'll talk about one of them in next week's episode. All right, so if you've done everything right, you got sharp mower blades, you're making sure to water in the morning, not at night, you're watering the correct amounts, you're making sure to feed your grass with a good source of nitrogen, so it's being consistently fed, it's growing at a good rate, and you're still getting diseases year after year, then you might want to think about starting to put down a fungicide. There are 2 types of fungicide out there. There's contact and there's systemic. Contact fungicides are going to coat the plant in a protective shell and stop any diseases from getting into it. A systemic fungicide is going to translocate itself into the plant tissue, and it will prevent disease, and it can also start to help cure the plant. It can speed up recovery. No fungicide is going to erase damage that's already been done, but a systemic fungicide can definitely help speed up recovery, so it appears that the grass plant is getting better quicker with a fungicide application than without. A lot of times though, on home lawns, a simple application, like I said, of a fertilizer at a half rate or so will get the grass growing enough, at least with red thread, rust, and dollar spot. The fert application should do the trick. But if you want something a little bit quicker, then you can use a systemic fungicide. Now, for most home lawns, fungicides aren't really recommended. That's because most diseases that you're going to get are not going to kill your turf. They might, if you get hit really bad, it might cause a little bit of death here and there, but you're not going to lose the whole lawn for the majority of the disease that you're going to find in a normal home lawn. It's more of a cosmetic issue than a real risk to the grass. So that's why they usually don't recommend fungicides, because they can get very expensive. You will see golf courses, athletic fields using them quite a bit, because there is value tied into that turf, where if you get bad diseases, it can affect operations day to day. A good affordable option is Headway G. This is a granular product, comes in a 30-pound bag. Depending on the disease that you're going after, the application rates are going to be different. Usually you want to put it down every 30 to 45 days. So what you're going to do is just put it into your spreader, spread it across the lawn, water it in, good to go. As a preventative option, you usually want to put it down before disease conditions are ripe. So for red thread, rust, dollar spot, usually that's when we're getting hotter and more humid. So I would recommend putting it down mid to late May. And then again, sometime in July. Those two applications should get you through the rest of the year. If you've got a current infestation of one of those diseases and you want to just speed up the recovery of that, or you don't want the disease to spread any further, then you can go with a fungicide. Put this down. It's going to stop the disease in its tracks. It's not going to spread any further. Being a systemic fungicide, it will move its way into the plant tissue and help speed up recovery of that plant. But again, not going to eliminate the damage that's already been done. That's got to just take time. The grass has got to outgrow that damage. All right, well, that is a wrap on today's episode of Tommy's Turf Talks. Hopefully you all found some good information in this episode to help you with your diseases, specifically red thread, rust, and dollar spot, the three most common diseases that I see out there on Minnesota lawns every year. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments section, and make sure to tune in next week for part 2 of our series on lawn diseases.